So it's 1:09 in the morning, and my husband's still gone, which is kind of depressing actually, because I usually can't go to sleep without him. So I figured I'd make another video. Please excuse me as I'm getting used to this whole YouTubing thing. Not really used to it yet. Just posted my first video yesterday, so tonight, I kind of decided that I'm going to start vlogging about the life of a medium and um, what happens, I guess, mostly, and kind of explain some of the experiences I've dealt with and how I'm handling things and all that. So I'm 32. Let me get off that by saying that I am 32. I've been dealing with this since I can remember. Um, I told you in my first video, I remember when I was 5. Um, I actually started really noticing it, I guess, at the age of 5. My grandfather passed away when my dad was 6, and my dad was 21 when I was born. So my grandpa had been dead quite a while from the time I started talking to him. My grandfather died in a railroad accident, actually, and he was crushed by a rail car. I remember when I was younger, I mean, everybody has imaginary friends, and I guess my parents originally thought that's what it was an imaginary friend that I was talking to. Until my dad asked me that day who I was talking to in the bedroom, and I told him it was my grandpa. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to remember things. It's really difficult sometimes. And then, like I told you before, my mother thought I was crazy and put me in mental hospitals throughout my life. Everybody really thought, well, she's schizophrenic or she is hearing things that aren't there. Just because somebody doesn't hear what you hear doesn't necessarily mean you have a mental disorder, okay? And that's one of the biggest things. I want to kind of explain that to you. Sorry if I look away quite a bit. We have security cameras in our home, so we watch those quite a bit. There's a difference between having a mental disorder and being, I guess, a sensitive or a medium, psychic, whatever you want to call them, or call us. And there is a difference between a medium and a psychic. So please don't get us confused at all. There are people who see things, and then there's people that know things. When I was younger, my life was very complicated. My mom's husband was very abusive, and I turned to a lot of hatred and negativity. And the only time I found peace was when I had someone to talk to other than them. I do have a younger brother and a younger sister that I had to help raise as well. So that was quite frustrating as well. But I love them to death. I wouldn't trade them in for the world. When I want to say 8, 9, can't remember quite. It was a long time ago. I'm 32 now, so it's a long time ago. We moved into a home. The home was originally a duplex, and they actually tore the wall that separated the duplex from one side to the other. They tore it down and made it a house. And when we first bought the house, I knew there was something not quite right about the home. But I was so young that nobody would ever listen to me, even if I told them, hey, Mom, this house is haunted. But my mom was a very stubborn woman. She still is. there's no words to explain my mother, okay? She's very stubborn. That's all I can say. And I think I get that from her because I am the same way. But my mom finally found out that the home was haunted. And she took it and she was amazed by what had happened in the home. And the story, it's kind of like this, okay? So this house was in Des Moines, Iowa. And there was a man who was mentally unstable. He killed his wife and his family and buried them in the basement of our home. He then shot and killed himself in the living room of our home. When people started noticing that the wife and kids weren't, making appearances, they started investigating. But before they could investigate fully, the man had shot and killed himself in the living room. When they finally found the body of the gentleman, they, of course, looked through the home for the wife and the children and couldn't find them. Someone had tipped him off, and they started looking around in the basement because they had found blood stains on the floors. Sure enough, they found 3 children and the wife buried in the basement of our home. When we moved in, we didn't know what had happened. I, of course, knew within probably a month of us living there. When we pulled up the carpet, we actually had the chalk outline because this was back when they used chalk to outline bodies. The chalk outline was still on the floor underneath the carpet. There was blood on the hardwood floors. It was just really, the home was really negative, and it brought a lot of pain into our lives. One day we were sitting on the opposite side of where we actually watched TV. My mom had turned the other side of the duplex into our toy room and our playroom. And this is right around the time Sega came out. And me and my sister and brother were on the other side of the house playing Sega. Or me and my sister were on the other side of the house playing Sega. And there was a bathroom on that side that we didn't use. Excuse me. And all of a sudden we heard a baby crying. And at this point, this is when my mom finally realized that the house was haunted. And there was something in the home. But we were playing, and we heard a baby cry. Well, my mom originally thought it was my brother because my brother was a baby at the time. And she ran upstairs to check on my brother, and my brother was sound asleep. Well, she came back downstairs, and we kept hearing a baby cry, a baby cry, a baby cry, a baby cry. We get close to this bathroom, and I said, Mom, there's a baby in there. And she's like, no. Sure enough, we open the bathroom door, and there's a baby sitting in the bathtub full of blood. My mom frantically freaked out. I mean, I have never seen my mom freak out so bad in her life. And she rubbed her eyes, and she's like, it's gone. And this happened several times. It wasn't just the one time that this had happened. This happened probably another 13 times in the time we had lived in the home. And my sister and everybody, and even my mom was afraid of the basement. And we didn't know why they were so, well, I kind of knew, but I didn't know because I was so young that I didn't know how to tune into everything. I just knew that basement had a lot of negativity, and it was like every time I tried to walk down there, I was getting choked. Like I couldn't go to the basement. It wouldn't allow me to. Finally, when my mom and me and everybody were living there, a lot of it was just a very negative home. My mom and her husband ended up divorcing over that home. There was a lot of abuse that happened in that home. I'm not going to get into my full life thing story, but I mean, my stepdad turned into a man that I wish he never had become. The home had just brought a lot of hurt to our family. And I think it wasn't until my mom filed for divorce and I finally moved in with my father that my mom really started to understand who I was and what I was about and how to handle me. Because up until that point, they thought medicating me was the only way to control what was going on with my life. And I'm going to tell you, being medicated to try to drown out something that wasn't going to be drowned out, even with medication, worst mistake of their life. It gave me anxiety from all the medication. I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder because of all the medication, and on top of it, everything I've been through. These spirits or entities, or everybody has a different name for them. They're not here to hurt you, most of them. They're here because they're lost. And for me, helping them find their way, that's what brings joy to my life. About 2 years ago, me and my husband were fishing. And I'm allergic to fish, okay? So I can't touch fish. But I still go fishing with him. But anyways, I was fishing and it was midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm pulling these fish in because we're fishing at a cemetery in a pond. And I threw a fish back because I caught one and I threw it back. And it actually hit him on the back of the head. And when it hit him, I looked up and I seen a little girl standing there. And she was playing with me and she was trying to play hide and seek. And my husband's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "There's a little girl and she wants to play hide and seek." He won't go back to that cemetery now, let me tell you. Because things happened to his vehicle while we were there, and that kind of freaked him out a little bit. He's gotten better over the years about the whole medium thing, but he's still kind of uncomfortable about it sometimes. He's always afraid something's going to get attached to us, and we do have 2 young girls and a son, so that he's afraid that something's going to come back in and hurt the kids. Unfortunately, I can't turn it off. I wish I could some days, because it would probably make our lives easier, but it just don't happen. We almost bought a haunted house, though. We almost bought a mansion here in the Quad Cities that was owned by a doctor. And it wasn't until he brought me into the home and he asked me, he's like, "So do you feel anything?" And I said, "Yeah." And afterwards, after we toured the home and everything, he asked me, he's like, "So tell me." He's like, "'Cause I know." And I told him the truth. I told him the doctor was still in the home. I told him the doctor was yelling and screaming because he didn't want us there. We were invading his privacy. We were in his home. My husband said he was touched, and he did have people, it felt like somebody was staring at him the whole time. After that, he told me we could not buy the home because he was afraid for the kids. And that's another thing. A lot of people, you go out there and you do your paranormal researching, and you go out and ghost hunt or do whatever, play with Ouija boards. You never know what you're going to bring home to your kids. I had a friend who I met at a medium convention, and she went to a cemetery to do a paranormal investigation with some people. When she came home, she brought something with her. It ended up scratching her son so bad that he needed stitches. And I'm not talking just like a scratch. I'm talking deep scratch. Stitches scratch. And they try to blow it off and say that, it was the kid made the scratch on his own, or maybe he cut himself. Where this scratch was, there was no way for that child to scratch himself. No way possible. Things were being thrown in her home. It got really bad. We finally had to have our priest come in and bless her home. and basically exorcise her home. So I just want to tell anybody, you know, if you're going to go out and research the paranormal or go ghost hunting or do some haunted tours or whatever, be careful. My biggest suggestion to you is to wear a cross. Preferably one that's been blessed or one that's got holy water, you know, something like that. We have crosses in our home in front of every door. We carry crosses in our vehicles. We wear crosses on us at all times. All of them have been dipped in holy water. We have candles burning, like I told you. I don't know if I told you guys or not. We burn candles. I live in a Mexican home. Mexicans use candles for everything. My husband is Hispanic. We try to do everything to protect our home so that nothing bad can come in. If you find yourself encountering these things, seek help. Don't try to do it yourself. Go to a church. Just find someone who, reach out to someone, because I'm telling you, it can get bad. I'm Catholic, so that helps a little bit. My priest is very renowned, and he knows what I do. And does he completely agree with it? No, but he knows that I can't help it. He's there for me at all times to help clean me if I need to be cleansed. Right now, he's working with me because we are working with a family who has some activity in their home, and the spirit isn't being very cooperative, and he's hurting the family. The family actually had to go stay in a hotel because of it. So I'm just telling you from a perspective of a medium, don't tempt what is untemptable. I guess I don't even know if temptable is a word, but don't play with dark magic. Don't play with Ouija boards. Don't go looking for trouble. It's not worth it in the end. I'm very angry at people, especially ones that play and joke with Ouija boards. You open up a portal that you don't close, and that leaves it open to anybody else that comes into contact with it. We had a family move into a home, and they didn't know that people had done devil worship in the home, and they opened a portal with a Ouija board. That family didn't know. They just bought the home. They were scratched and bit and tormented for 6.5 months before they packed all their stuff and left their home. And then it followed them. And it followed them. Until one day, the husband committed suicide. The wife didn't know what to do. And finally, I came in contact with her at a grocery store. I asked her if she knew what was going on. She asked me what I was talking about. I said, you know you have a demon attached to you? She says, I have a what attached to me? I said, you have a demon attached to you. I explained that the demon was attached to her. I asked her what had happened in the last few months. She explained everything to me. I said, you need to get help. I said, I can try to help, but we need help from a priest. I took her to my church. My priest had to exorcise her. That is not something to play with. Somebody opened a portal that brought into this family destruction. And now, to this day, she suffers. And she actually suffers from PTSD because of it. And her children suffer. And that's not fair. So before you guys start going opening portals and playing with Ouija boards that you think is just a toy, don't think twice. I want to also touch on one other subject before I let you go. I know this video is kind of long. When you When you think of a medium, you think, oh, they're just a play toy. They don't know what they're talking about, or this or that. Be respectful. Respect is the biggest thing. If you want answers, you need to respect what is unknown. I know a lot of people find it interesting, and I know a lot of people want to know. I mean, it's the biggest thing on the internet these days. And I think that's one of the reasons I decided to start a vlogging, is because I want you to know that the unknown needs to stay unknown. Stop looking for answers, because those answers could actually ruin you in the long run. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you don't go experiment, because if you experiment, then you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if it comes into contact with you without you looking, then embrace it. But don't go looking. I mean, seriously. Have you not seen... Look at Zach Bagans, for instance. Okay, let's take him, for instance, because he's one of those just crazy guys that I don't know why he does it. He goes and he collects haunted items. Dolls and toys and chests and drawers and a Dybbuk box. Perfect example. He has to take every precaution to make sure that he doesn't hurt somebody or himself, because he has haunted items. What he's doing is playing with the devil, man. I'm not gonna even lie. He plays with the devil every day. He's dancing with the devil. And why he does it, I don't know. He's intrigued by it, which, that's cool, that he's intrigued. But he has a genuine Dybbuk box in his possession in his haunted museum. If you know anything about a Dybbuk box, it contains a demon. A real demon. And if released, can cause torture and torment and pain. It can cause death and destruction. I know on his Halloween episode, I believe it was, and my husband kind of mentioned it, he was going to open the box, and a rabbi had come and basically debunked the whole Dybbuk box, which I don't quite understand, because rabbis really aren't in tune with demons, I guess. But he probably saved himself a lot of pain and heartache by not opening that box. And I'm telling you, if you ever come into contact with one, please don't open it. I'm begging you not to open it. Keep it locked up. Keep it safe. Bury it. Hide it. That demon's in there for a reason. I just want to thank everybody for watching. And I know sometimes I don't make sense and everything's scrambled and jumbled and I bounce from one topic to another. I do suffer from ADHD, unfortunately, so that kind of is why. And I've got so much to tell you guys, and I don't ever have enough time. And I try not to make my videos 30 minutes long, but this one looks like it's going to be. If you have any questions or you need answers, feel free to message me on YouTube. I will drop a link to my Twitter and my Instagram. Don't look me up on Facebook. I won't accept any on people I don't know on Facebook, so just a heads up. But if you're in the Quad City area and Davenport, Illinois, Moline, and you need answers, I'll help as much as I can. I can't tell you who you're going to marry in 30 years from now, and I can't tell you if you're going to be rich or any of that, so that's not what I do. But I think I'm going to start traveling a little more here within the next few years. I got kids now that are in school, and my husband's a stay-at-home dad, so give me some time to finally open our horizons and do more. So, but thanks for watching. I'm gonna end this video and get it uploaded so that I can prepare for my next one. Have a good night.